Thank you. Okay, so we were gonna get started with our reaffirmation of accreditation information that we'll share over the next year. We're gonna give an overview this month, and then the following months we will talk about specific topics related to accreditation each month. So we promise to make it as painless as possible, and we'll get the information out in 30 minutes or less. So Michaela, if you want to get started.
Sure. So what is accreditation? Higher education institutions seek accreditation through two types of accreditation agency, institutional and programmatic. And so at Northeast, we have both of those. Obviously, institutional is our college-wide, our accreditation through the Higher Learning Commission, and programmatic would be more of like our nursing program and our vet technology programs. The Higher Learning Commission is the college's institutional accreditor, which validates the quality of an institution, evaluates multiple aspects of an institution, including the academic offerings, governance and administration, mission, finances, and resources. This encompasses the entire institution, including all our degree levels, our delivery methods, and all of our locations. The accreditation process. We're evaluated against the criteria for accreditation, which Lindsay will go over in more detail in another slide, which are standards that Northeast must maintain to maintain our accreditation status. We're part of a peer review system, which is comprised of peer reviewers from across the United States. They participate in this work. There's probably about 2,000 of them, all in different sections of their institution that participate in the peer review system. In Northeast is part of the open pathway cycle. There are actually 2 cycles now. Oops, sorry, Lindsay. There's the standard and the open. Previously, there was a peak affirmation process and an AQUIT, but now it's down to 2. Open pathway is the least monitored, I would say, where standard, you have a lot more hands-on monitoring from the commission. Thanks, Lindsay. This is the 10-year cycle. Lindsay created this great graph that shows you over what has happened in the past 10 years at Northeast. So some of you, Pam and I have been around. I think Lindsay was here too in 2014, probably Heather, when we had our peak visit in 2013, and Northeast needed to decide if we would be an open pathway or an AQUIT pathway, and we opted for open pathway. So we got a little break the first year, but then once we started hitting the ground running, we were working on our assurance argument. So we were preparing our assurance filing. In 2018, we submitted that review. And during that year, an assurance argument in year 4 does not require an on-site review. You just submit the assurance system. They may request documentation, but we had a great review. Then we move into years 5 through 7, where you submit your quality initiative proposal, which at that time, I think almost everyone probably on this screen has been involved with our building capacity for guided pathways proposal and our work in that, that area. In years 7 through 9, we submitted our QI report, which we just got that results back last spring. And we began working on our comprehensive review, which our review is in 23-24. I also wanted to add on this a slide. During the 10-year cycle, institutions that have additional locations, you complete a multi-location visit, which we did last spring for West Point in South Sioux City. And other things that we have to do during this 10-year cycle include an annual update. Danielle is involved with that along with Julie. So we do that annually. We pay fees to the commission annually. A lot of attendees on here also go to the annual conference with us. And we've participated in additional workshops during the last 10 years, specifically one on general education requirements. Okay, next slide, Lindsay. Components of the comprehensive evaluation. So previously, when we did our peak visit, we had this huge document. We don't do that anymore. It's only 35,000 words, and we put it through an assurance system. So we don't have to have the big library of information that we used to put in 100B. It's all in that system. We also are required to do our federal compliance filing. That continues to evolve a little bit than what we submitted in 2013, and Lindsay's doing a great job staying on top of it. Some of you may be involved with it. And we're also expected to be in compliance with the assumed practices and obligation of membership at all times. Some examples of the assumed practices are Northeast has a conflict of interest process, our policy. We have a process for receiving complaints from students and other residents in our 20-county region, and that we have qualified faculty. Obligations of affiliation, which now is called membership. They changed that on me. That Northeast will pay fees to the commission, and that we are current on policies and procedures that the commission adopts, and that we're in compliance. So there you can find all that information on the HLC website, but we do have to be in compliance with those 2 additional areas.
So one of the other obligations of membership that Michaela didn't note is that we also have to name an ALO, which is an
We do.
accreditation liaison officer. And that is Michaela's role in this work. So Michaela oversees all of our institutional accreditation work for the institution and makes sure that we're staying on top of the federal regulations that are coming down and ensuring that our practices that we have in place are followed at the institution. So now I'm going to jump into the criteria for accreditation. So how this plays into that previous slide is the assurance argument is a 35,000 word document that writes to these 5 criterion. So criterion 1 is on mission. And so in that area of the document, we are writing on like how the mission was developed. Is it clearly articulated? And then we have to give evidence for how we are maintaining the mission and ensuring that our work is mission driven throughout our cycles. The second criteria is around integrity and ethical and responsible conduct. This is a lot of information about our governing boards, so the Board of Governors, how the Board of Governors works in tandem with the college, the policies and procedures that guide our work. Are we using the policy and procedure? What's our approval process for those? How do we ensure that they're being followed? That's a lot of what is covered in that criterion. Third criterion is teaching, learning, quality resources and support. And this is really going through all of our academic offerings and determining is learning consistent across delivery methods. So if there's a class offered dual credit, or if there's a class offered hybrid or online or virtual, are the learning outcomes that students are getting across all those methods consistent? Because they should be. So how do we ensure, and what practices do we have in place to make sure that that's happening? It's also surrounding locations. So dual credit is a good example of that. We offer dual credit across many high schools in our service area and some outside of our service area. So how do we ensure that the same content is being taught for English Comp 1 in all of those areas, regardless of location? And then a few other, this is the big one, obviously, a few other ones that are covered there is our general education curriculum. So over the last year, there was a lot of work done with revising the general education goals. So what are those general education goals? How do they fit into our general education coursework and program? And then how are those assessed? And then qualifications and evaluation of faculty are also in there. So do we have a qualified faculty, and are the faculty teaching courses that are in line with their qualifications? So that's what we're speaking to, a lot of those areas. Criterion 4 is on evaluation and improvement through teaching and learning. And so program review, academic program review is a big component that we talk about in here. Specialized accreditation. Michaela mentioned this a little bit before, but examples of our specialized accreditation would be, for example, the Health Information Management Program. They're specially accredited by CAHIM. And so they have additional standards that they comply with in order to maintain that accreditation. We also have that for nursing, vet tech, nurse aid has certain licensure requirements. So we have a bunch of different programs with that information. Graduate success in terms of retention, persistence, and completion is also discussed, as well as assessment. Assessment is really the huge part of this criterion. So how are we assessing our courses, our programs, our general education program, our foundational education program, weaving all of that in. And then finally, our fifth criterion is on institutional effectiveness, resources, and planning, and it is about all of those things. So shared governance, how do we make sure that all voices at the college are included in our decision-making process? Staff qualifications, do we have a budgeting process that meets the needs of our institution? Do we link assessment with evaluation, planning, and budgeting? So those are the things that we're talking to there. And really the main thing that we try to do between all of this is make connections between all of our work. So none of them are singular things that happen. They're all interconnected and weaved throughout. And so that's what makes this much bigger than what it seems that it should be, because everything should be connected in our integrating planning processes. So what can we expect over the next year? Like we said before, we're working towards that October on-site visit in 2023. And so here's what we're going to be doing each month leading up to that. Each month, we're going to have a session just like this on each of the criterion. We will have people come help us with those presentations. For example, criterion 1, Pam Sawfeld was our lead writer for that area. So she's going to come and work with Michaela and I to tell everybody about the good work that we've done, like in mission. And so everyone has a general understanding of the work that goes into our institution, because we all probably have a good understanding of what goes on in our area, but we might not have as comprehensive of a view of what goes on in other areas. And so really it's information sharing about those things. We'll have challenges that go with each of those monthly sessions. So engagement from the college is needed in this work in order to maintain our accreditation. So when we have that on-site visit in October 2023, they're going to be doing focus visits and interviews with different groups of people. And we need to make sure that we are putting in practice, or that we have in practice, what we speak to in the document. So that's really what they're confirming. Are they actually doing what they say that they're doing? So how do I engage in this? That's what everybody's looking for, right? Like, I'm really excited. How do I get involved? Accreditation bites. What we're doing right now is one way that people can get involved. We'll have these, again, we're trying to make them short so people can jump in and out, maybe sit in while they're eating lunch, and then there'll be a little quiz at the end. And that's how we're going to track engagement so that we can offer the areas with the highest engagement a party at the end of the month. We will also have recordings of these. So if you're not able to attend, you can catch a recording after. And then flyers will be distributed to mailboxes. And so a week before all of these, there'll also be a flyer, and it'll have all of the information that you need to take that quiz. And so you can just take the quiz from the flyer and participate in that way if that's what works best for you. Challenges will be open all month, so people can just take the quiz, and then at the end of the month, the areas with the highest engagement will get a party. I don't know if that's going to be a pizza party, popcorn party. We'll probably work with that area to decide what they want. And then we'll also provide some type of incentive for highest engagement throughout the year. So if Health and Public Service is the winner one month, they're probably not going to win every month, but they might have highest percentage engagement throughout the year as well. So they get incentive to keep involved through that work.
I suggest a beer tasting session at Divots.
Perfect.
I'll bet we'd have lots of participation.
And it's community engagement.
And it's community engagement. Sorry.
So we have the college divided up into these teams for those quiz challenges, and there are individuals in your areas that will be encouraging individuals to participate in this work. So that is how the college is divided up, and that is what we have for you on what to expect with our accreditation work this year. So do we have any questions?
Come on, Heather. Academic outreach and health. We're going for the win, right, Heather?
We are. I saw that, Michaela.
So we'll set up meetings with you, Michaela and Lindsay, to talk about what